Gavin. Good morning. You're always here. I love it. Morning, Tom.
Good morning, Mrs. A.
Oh, scary, hairy Alex Isaac. Woo!
Yeah.
Look at that hair. I love it. Morning, Carlson. Morning, Will.
Good morning.
Grieber. How we doing? Morning, Connor.
Good morning.
Where's Jimmy Slife? Where's Blondie? Grieber, you dye your hair? Blake Grieber, did you dye your hair? Looks really blonde in front. Morning, Kevin.
Good morning.
There's Jimmy Slife.
Morning.
Did I ask you if you're related to our new councilman, Jimmy Slife?
Yeah, I am. It's my, I think it's like my second cousin or something.
Okay.
Or he's my dad's cousin.
All
I
right.
don't know who that is.
That's your first cousin once removed.
Oh, okay.
Your dad's cousin, then he's your first cousin. We went through that whole thing with our family one time, looked that all up, and yeah.
It's so confusing.
Oh boy, guys, this is the last one you'll have to get up for. How many of you would get up by like 9 o'clock anyway, even if you didn't have a Zoom? A lot of you would. That's good. Just set some structure. This is the not. I didn't see that hand, Maze. I didn't see Maze's hand go up on that. All right. Well, that's good to have a structure and get your day started. Sohan, look at you.
Hi, Mrs. A.
Good morning. So good to see you. Buddy. So I'm thinking about having a Zoom on Friday just to say goodbye. Everybody could say goodbye to one another. And I'm wondering if I should just have one for all my classes or still do the two. What would you prefer? You want to jump in with everybody, or do you want to have this one on early on Friday? Anybody got a comment? Nobody?
Probably the two, so then like if a bunch of people join, it won't lag as bad.
All right, we'll do that. We'll still do the 9, and then there is a you know, there's that end of the school year mass they're trying to get people to Zoom in on at 11 o'clock, and then I'll do the 12:30 one also. So I'll have to send links for those because those were not that one would not be pre-set up, so I got to remember to send a link for that. Hope I remember. Okay. All right, well, it's 9:03. I don't know who else is coming, but I just wanted to go over some questions. I'm going to highlight myself now so you can see what is going on here. Okay, so I want to go over the answers to this one that is actually yesterday and today's assignment, because I'm noticing that some people that turn them in have some of the answers wrong. They're a little tricky. So do you guys have this? And even if you didn't do it yet, I mean, I don't have a problem if you want to jot these answers down so that when you do it, you can say, well, I didn't get that answer. What am I doing wrong or something? But this is that one, geometric sequences 2. It's got those 3, the bouncy ball problem on the back and the little guy there. So, all right, so before I do that, and I can't find my marker. Oh boy. Marker, where is it? All right, we're gonna use the red. Oh, there it is on the floor. All right, so before I do this, I want to give you a heads up on what is on the quest tomorrow on this arithmetic sequences. So the first thing you're going to have to be able to do is recognize if something is arithmetic or geometric or neither. Okay, some things can be neither. Then you should know the rule for the nth term of an arithmetic. Remember that rule? That's how you find a rule for the nth term of an arithmetic sequence. And given that formula, if I give you a sequence, you should be able to give me the rule for the nth term. If I give you D and I give you an nth term, like let's say the 17th term is this, you should be able to find A sub 1. You should be able to find N. If I say, here's a series, what number term is this one? You should be able to plug in and find N also. Okay, so that's, and then the other thing you need to know is summation notation. How we write both arithmetic and geometric in summation series. So if I gave you something like 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, and I asked you to write that sequence in summation notation, the first thing you have to do is find a rule for the nth term. So it would be 4 plus 4 times n minus 1, and then it would go from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Go to 5 terms, and that would be, and you could simplify this to 4n, just 4n. This would simplify to just 4n, and that would be it in summation notation. Do we remember doing that? And likewise, if I gave you something in summation notation, could you generate the sequence that went along, or the series that went along with it? Those should have plus signs, because sum means you're adding them. Okay, then you should be familiar with the formula for finding the sum of a bunch of numbers in an arithmetic series, and that, remember, is n times a sub 1 plus a sub n all over 2. So be able to use that formula. And then lastly, you should know the formula for the nth term of a geometric. So geometric nth term is a sub 1 times r to the n minus 1 power. Okay, now what we did not get to, and this is why I don't know if I'm gonna make up a new quest or just use what I have and X problems out. If you see problems X'd out, it's because what we did not get to is how you find the sums of geometric series, because there's, it's a little bit trickier because the sum does not exist for all of them, all finite ones. So we didn't get to that, so you're not responsible for that. Okay, so I'll give you time to ask questions about that in a little bit, but I thought we would take the time to go over this, the answers to this worksheet now. Did most of you guys start working on this already? Yes, no, maybe? Okay. So then if you have it with you, I just thought we'd kind of go over the answers here. Number one, the 11th term of that geometric sequence, I got as 5 over 128, or most of you probably have it as a decimal, 0.0390625. And that's an exact decimal, so I didn't round that off. Go ahead, Dom, what's your question?
Oh, is that supposed to be negative or positive?
Positive. Because if you're finding the 11th term, the formula you're going to use is the first. Wow, this is starting early today. That's not a good sign. So the formula for the nth term is the first term. The common ratio here is -1/2, but you raise it to the n minus 1 power. So 11 minus 1 is 10, and a negative number to an even power is positive. So that should be a positive answer. And if you look at the series or the sequence, the first term is positive, the second is negative, the third is positive. So the odd terms are positive and the even terms are negative in that one. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right, next one. Did we all get a to the n equals 8 times 3/2 to the n minus 1? Did we get that one? 8 times. Now, you have to put the 3/2 in parentheses when you write that. Otherwise, you would just be raising the 3 to the power. Okay? The third one. Okay, this one was a little bit tricky. This was one of the ones on the second video. You first had to figure out that R is -2. Were we able to find that out? Do you know how to do that? A sub 3 is -12 and A sub 6 is 96. So that you know that to find R, you divide a term by the one in front of it. Well, these are not consecutive terms, but if I divide 96 by -12, I'm getting -8. Now, that's 3 terms away, so that's equal to R times R times R, or R to the third. So what number cubed is -8? That's -2. So that tells me that R is -2, and, oh, I did this wrong. Okay, so we know R is -2, and I did the math and I didn't. So now what's the problem? This is a tough one because we had to find R, and what else do we have to find? We don't know the first term. So I want to find A sub 1. So I know that the third term is -12. So if I'm finding A sub 1, it's -12 is going to equal A sub 1 times -2 to the, okay, that was the third term, so that's going to be 3 minus 1. So -12 is going to equal A sub 1 times -2 to the second, which is 4. So A sub 1 is -3. We get that? Which means my formula for the nth term, now I got to put it all together. A sub n is going to equal -3 times -2 to the n minus 1. Okay, so that was a really tricky one. And so, and I have the wrong answer on the answer key that I just scanned to post, but I'll change it. Okay, so then number 4, the first thing you had to find was R. Did you figure out that R is 1/3? Were you able to figure that out? Okay, and so we know that R is 1/3. And then we have to find A sub 1. So I use the formula A sub n equals A sub 1 times R to the n minus 1. And I use the A sub 9 is 243. So A sub n is 243 when n is, I think that's a 9. So 9 minus 1 would be 8. This ends up being 1/6561. So then I had to multiply both sides by 6561. And I end up getting that A sub 1 is 1,594,323. So A sub n is that times 1/3 to the n minus 1. So that's our formula for the nth term. That was a tricky one because you had to find R and you had to find A sub 1. Which makes sense because if A sub 9 is 243 and you're going multiplying by 1/3 going the other way, you'd be multiplying by 3, 3, 3, and that's what we'd end up getting. Okay, so that's those, and I'm happy to ask more questions at the end of the Zoom for anybody that wants to stay on. Okay, so number 5 now, it says tell whether each sequence is arithmetic or geometric, and then find a rule for the nth term. The sequence of positive even integers, well, positive means you can't have 0, so that's 2, 4, 6, 8, etc. That would be arithmetic because you're adding 2, and the nth term would be the first term, plus you're going up by 2 times n minus 1. Okay, so 5 is arithmetic, and that's the nth term. Okay, number 6 was the one that was 2a plus 1, comma 3a plus 3, comma 4a plus 5. Okay, so we got to ask ourselves, is this arithmetic or geometric? Hopefully you can see that it's arithmetic and that you're adding on, the common difference is you're adding an a plus 2 each time. That's the common difference. So writing a expression for the nth term, it's the first term, which would be 2a plus 1, plus d, which is a plus 2, times n minus 1. That would be a rule for the nth term. This is our d, this is our a sub 1, this is our d times n minus 1. Okay, so that one's arithmetic. Okay, number 7. Oh, I wish I was in my room at the smart board. Okay, even with my glasses, this is getting hard. E to the 3rd, e to the 5th, e to the 7th, etc. Hopefully you guys figured out that this was, it's not arithmetic. I know you're adding 2 onto the powers, but you add 2 to the powers when you multiply. So this is geometric. First term is e to the 3rd. Now, what's the r in this? What are you multiplying by each time? E squared.
Good morning. So sorry I'm late.
Would be a sub n equals e to the 3rd times e squared to the n minus 1. That's a rule for the nth term. Okay. Now, the next two, did you guys do the ones on the back yet? Because they're a little tricky. You're gonna say, no, it wasn't, Mrs.
Yeah.
A, those were pretty easy. Well,
Was
yes,
I
okay,
was
so
I
the
correct
bouncy
that-
ball. When I was checking the homeworks, and I want you guys to know, honestly, I open up every single homework. I don't just look and say, oh, May sent me his homework, I'm checking it off. I open them up and I look at them. I honestly do, every single homework. And I noticed that a lot of people for number 8 were giving this answer as the height of the what is it, which bounce, 8th bounce. And that's not the correct answer. Because what I think you guys did is you said, all right, I'm going to use the formula for a geometric. It's the first term times r to the n minus 1. And you put in 0.75 times r. That's the rate that you're multiplying by. You probably put 8 in here for that. And you probably put 20 in for that. And if you do that, you're going to get 2.67. But what's wrong with this is 20 is not the first bounce. So you've got the wrong first term. If you look at a diagram, if this is 20 feet up, it's going to drop 20 feet. But that's not the first bounce. The first bounce is this, where it only goes 75% higher, which is actually 15.
Mrs.
That's
A,
bounce number 1.
to
And
solve for
number 2 goes 75% of that, and I think that was 11.25. I think I figured these out. So if you're setting up a sequence, you're not starting with 20 because that's not the first bounce. What you have to put in for the first bounce is actually 15. Okay? And if you do that, the answer comes out to be, I think, something like that.
are you able to just make, as opposed to n minus 1, just do n?
Okay,
Because
so that was a little tricky, and I think most, like 90% of people or 95% of the papers I looked at so far had 2.67. Okay, the next one
Mrs. A,
is
can
going
you
to
hear
be
me?
similarly a little bit off.
What is going on?
Do you remember the one with the culture of yeast? Okay, this is the one where you're starting out with 3 million yeast. So we're going to say A sub 1 is 3 million. And I'm just going to use 3 and change it to millions in the end so I don't have to drag all those zeros through. And it doubles in size every 4 hours. So that makes the rate 2. Does that make sense? If it's doubling. Now, you ask, what will it be 1 day from now? So I think a lot of people did this and said, okay, A sub n is going to be the first term 3 times 2 to that, and then they figure, well, there's 6 4-hour periods. So if you did 2 to the 6 minus 1, I don't know what that comes out to, but that's not the right answer. I think that is going to come out to 96 million. And that's not the right answer. Because if you really map this out and look at this, if
Hello?
you're using 3 as the first term,
Any luck now?
there's 3 million actually at time 0. After the first 4 hours, after 4 hours, then there's going to be 6. So this is after 4 hours. And then you got to go 8, 12, 16, 20, 24. Now, how many terms is this? If you're counting that as the first term to get to 24 hours, whoops, there are actually 7 terms. It's actually the 7th term. So this has to be 7 minus 1, which makes this the final answer 192, which is actually 192 million. Okay. Did I do that right? Where's my calculator? Okay, 3 times 2 to the 6th. Yeah, it's 192 million. I did it right. Okay, so that's a little bit, that one was a little bit tricky because actually to get to 24 hours, that's happening 6 times beyond the beginning. 1 4-hour, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which actually gives us 7 terms in that sequence. Okay, all right. And the last problem is the Andrew and Evan. Did you figure out that Andrew's salary is arithmetic? Because you're adding on 2,500 times. So after 10 years, I got Andrew, so I'll do Andrew, A sub 10. I got 54,500 that he'd be making. And Andrew, after 20 years, would be making 79,500. Are those looking like what you guys got? Okay. Then Evan, after 10, he's only making 54,063 and some change. But Evan, after 20 years, is making $96,819 and some cents. So after 10 years, Andrew's making more, but after 20 years, Evan is making considerably much more.
Mrs. A?
Okay. So here's the deal. On the Quest, and I'm probably just going to make a new one up. I don't know what I'm doing. It's not going to be that, it's going to be a Quest. It's not going to be a full-blown test. I'm going to let you guys use your notes so you have the formulas. Does that sound fair? So you may use your notes. I'm going to get out of this mode now. I'm going to go back to gallery view. Okay, so you can use your own notes and your worksheets, but please, I'm imploring you to not use any outside sources, okay? Do not use each other. I would say if people ask me, what do you like the least about online learning? I would have to say the lack of integrity I'm seeing. And actually, I think my freshmen have been worse than you guys. I think early on a few people on the one test, I suspect were using some outside sources, but since then, I think you guys have been pretty good, but my freshmen are factoring trinomials, and I know they're using the photo math because it factors them in a way that I didn't even teach them, and I'm just like, I don't know, but that is a frustration to me. So I'm just asking you to please do your own work. I know most of you guys are doing that, and I appreciate your honesty and your integrity. And one last comment I will make also, if you are missing any assignments from the online learning period, which started like, when did that start? May 18th or something? You may go back and complete any of those assignments and turn them in to me for credit. Is that okay? So if you missed any and you want to go back, you can do that. We're supposed to have grades up, not final grades, but we're supposed to have grades updated by Monday because they're going to look at kids that are failing multiple classes and reach out to them. But I think actually your first period is in good shape. Second period, there's a couple guys I got to look at, but so even in that grace period after this Friday, you know, for that grace period from up until May, I don't know what it is, 27th or 28th, you can still turn in to me any missing assignments from the online distance learning time. Okay? Guys, if you have any questions, if you have any specific questions, you can stay on at the end of the Zoom and I'm happy to answer them for you. But for now, this quest, because I know that there's AP exams this week, I'm not requiring it to be done until 3 o'clock on Sunday. Is that reasonable for everybody? I'm more worried about the sophomores with the A push and stuff. If you can do it sooner, I would appreciate it because we are supposed to have the grades updated by Monday morning. So I'd rather not have to grade, you know, 80 tests on Sunday night. But so if you're done with it and you want to turn it in, you can, but I'm not requiring it to be turned in till Sunday. Does that sound reasonable? Are you awake, Alex Isaac? Okay. All right. So if you have any questions, you are free to stay on and I will answer them for you. If not, look for an email from me on Friday. I will do a goodbye Zoom at 9 o'clock in the morning and at 12:30 for Honors Algebra 2. So if you could if you'd like to join one of those, I would love to be able to just say goodbye to everybody. I'm not going to like it, but we'll have to do it. So that's optional, but it would be nice to do it. And don't forget about the all school end of school mass at 11 if you want to zoom in on that. Father Shelton, who is actually leaving at the end of the year, is going to be saying the mass. So, all right, guys, good luck with the quest. I think you'll be fine if you did the homeworks and you know, went through the videos and did the note sheets. I think you'll be fine on the quest. Okay? So this is it, guys. 3 more days. That's it. Okay? 3 more. And actually, there's no new homework today. It's just to finish up the worksheet we just went over. So you're done with homework. There's, you know, nothing but the quest Thursday and Friday till Sunday. Okay? So have a great rest of the week, and I hope I see you Friday on a Zoom, guys. So stay on and hang on if you have a question. If not, I'll see you on Friday. Okay?
Thank you.
See you, Mrs. A.
Thanks, Mrs. A. See you Friday.
Say it.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Lost my stand. Okay. Do you have a question? Wait a minute. All right. What's up? I'm not hearing you. Are you sure you're not muted? Wow, how come I'm not hearing you guys? Try again. I can't hear you. No, my volume's not all the way down. All right, now say something. Can you text me your question? I can't hear anything. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Crap. I don't know what's going on because my speakers are supposed to be working. Ay. Okay. Can you just chat me your question? So now my sound isn't working at all on my computer. I can't get it to go back on.
Yeah, I'm going to George's.
Okay. I can't hear anybody. No, you're the only one on and okay. On 8 and 9, I just left a sub 1 as its original value change. So on number 8, you're saying instead of doing n-1, you just used n, but did you use 20 as your first term? Okay, that makes sense because well, are you sure that works? So you did 20 times 0.75 to the times 0.75 to the 8th? Is that what you did? Oh, that is the right answer. Well, that makes sense because you're multiplying 20 by 1 less. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, and in number 9, that should work too. But in number 10, if you're Andrew, you're doing the geometric, right? If you do a sub 10, so the first term's 3,200 to get, so this is year 0. And then this is after 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. To get to year 10, you're actually doing it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times. So it's not n-1. Does that make sense? Because this one, you are adding it 10 times, not just 9. That would work if the difference here is you're not calling 32,000 year 1. It's actually year 0. That's the difference in this problem.
But it was the same way on 8.
Now I'm hearing you.
Oh, great. It was the same way on 8 and 9.
Well, no, it's not.
Because 20 was bounce 0, not bounce 1. 3 million was
Right, and it was bounce 0, and you decreased it by 1, correct?
whether you're increasing or decreasing doesn't matter.
No. I'm saying you decreased the n-1. You used the 20,
It's above 1.
you used the 0.75, and then you just did n.
Yes.
That's okay. And in the
Why can't I
second
do that
one,
on 10?
you did 3.
3 million times 2 to the n.
See, that's not the right answer.
It got the same answer.
What did you get?
192 million.
I don't think you do. If you do this times 2 to the n would be, what did you use for n?
I believe 6. Yeah, 6.
Okay, but see, you got the wrong n. N is really 8 in this one.
How is n 8?
Well, actually, n is 7, so you're not really using n. You're really using n minus 1 on that one.
N is 7? How'd you get
Yeah,
that?
because there's 3 million right now, which is like times 0. Then after 4 hours, then you go to 8 hours, then to 12, then to 16, then to 20, then to 24. So if you count that out, and if you call this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
But I don't have to include term 0, do I? Because the
If
number of
you're
times,
calling that 3, you are.
no, the number of times I counted forward was 6. So there's 6 repetitions of the set. If you were looking at it as a summation.
There's 6 from 3. So you got, so there, no, there's actually 7 if you're counting 3 as the first term.
So I have to count 3 as the first term?
Well, what did you count?
I didn't count 3 as the first term. I went 3's where I'm starting. So that's term 0. I don't worry
Yeah.
about that. 4
Okay.
hours is 1, then 8 hours is 2, then 12 hours is 3, and so on, and I got n equals 6.
So you use 3 as your first term. Is that what you're saying?
3 is term 0.
Okay. So if that's the case, if 3 is term 0, then after 4 hours,
That's
you've
term
got,
1. Right?
well, no. In this formula, n is always starts with 1. So you don't have a term 0. In that formula, you can't start with term 0. You gotta consider this term 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If you're using that formula, whatever you put in as n, that has to be a reference to the first term, which is the starting amount.
Okay. So then why did it work on 8?
Because you used your first term as,
Term 0. That's the same thing I did on 9, which you just told me I
Okay.
can't do.
okay, so 20 would be term 0, right?
Yeah.
And then term, but
One.
again, this is actually term 1. No, it's not term 1. Because in this one, 20 is not really the first term because it's not a bounce.
And in number 9, it, even though it's not one of the doubled populations, it is still a population.
Right.
Okay.
And you were about the only one that got number 8 correct. Most I don't know if you were on the Zoom at that time. Most of the kids, all they did was this. They put 20 times 0.75 to the 8 minus 1 power.
They just
And
plugged
they
it in the
got
formula and
96
went.
million because they didn't realize that 20 is really not the
Because I was
first
sitting
term.
there
'cause
going,
it's
if I
not a
drop
bounce.
it from 20 feet, there's no way it bounces to 20 feet. So that's not my first
Right,
preference.
right. All right,
Okay.
I gotta let my dog out. Hang on one second. Crazy dog. Why do you wanna go out? Scratch the life out of the door if I don't let him out.
Yeah, I know.
And
I
then
have
he turns around and he
two-year-old.
comes back and now he's looking at me like he wants to come in. I'm not coming out.
My dog does that all the time. She barks at the door, gets all excited. You let her out, and literally 2 seconds later, she's like, all right. Like, you
know.
haven't even closed the door yet. She turns
I
around
think
like,
she
all
was
right, I'm
hoping
coming
I was coming out. He was hoping I was coming out.
Yeah. Wants to play.
Yeah.
Are there any of these on the quest? These types of word problems?
There may be a bouncy ball one. So, but I think they're going to be more basic kind of problems. So,
And why couldn't I do it on 10? Is it for the same reason of 9? Because while it
10,
is
32,000 is his starting salary.
it is a salary.
It is a salary, right?
And I was thinking of n being the number of times you change it, but n is really the number of total times. Total.
Correct. It's
So
the total
n
number
is the
of
number
terms,
of total things you're counting.
total number of terms in the sequence you're looking at, right?
Okay, and I was thinking n was the number of times. Oh, I was thinking, I just messed up what n was.
But you know what I'm happy about? You were thinking. You know,
There's
a lot
value
of
to
kids just do the homework on autopilot and then they
I
get,
fall into that trap sometimes, but honestly,
Yeah.
if I don't try and think a little bit, what's the point?
exactly. That's what really promotes brain cell growth anyway, is the
Anyway.
thinking, not the writing.
Thank you
So,
so much for taking 15 minutes of your life to deal with my craziness.
hey, that's what I'm here for. I don't have another Zoom till 11 now, so I got a
Alrighty.
little bit of time.
Have a great day, Mrs. A.
All right, you too. I hope I see you Friday for our goodbye Zoom.
Alrighty, bye.
Okay, see you, Alex. Okay.